I hear a lawnmower. Oh no, you guys.
It's a beautiful lawn mowing day. What can you say?
I got dressed up for you. He got dressed up
Yeah,
as
we
well.
got sweaty pits. It's 90 degrees outside.
I know. He's like, this is
90%
wonderful.
humidity. I'm loving cuddling at 90 degrees right now. It's awesome.
Right after I ran. Wait, it's going to start raining on us too, guys. Oh my gosh. And
this is awesome. We're outside.
It's the middle of the day. I went for a run at 2 p.m. and it's like 90 degrees. And basically my entire body is covered in salt right now.
Check this out.
I know.
Salty. See, she did that with me for years. After I'd get home from surfing, she'd get to kiss the saltiness off my body. Now she's getting me back.
It's totally raining. I think we might get rained out
here. I love
it.
It'll cool us down. It's so hot.
I know. Can you guys hear us with this rain? So yeah, like I literally have all this salt film because I sweat so much. Hopefully you can hear me because there's some rain coming down here.
It's awesome.
Yes,
we need it.
It is. But I'm a little bit sweaty because I ran for almost an hour. I don't know what possessed me. In the heat of the day,
what in the world? Why would anybody want to do that?
Must be that active stuff I take, huh?
Maybe. I
did actually. I had my active this afternoon.
The stuff that I didn't take today.
Yes, because I was like,
I don't want to run today.
It was such a good run though at 2 p.m. But when I got home, we were planning to go live, and we were going to talk about why you should take probiotics with antibiotics. Like why, if you take antibiotics, you should take probiotics.
Just not in the same swallow, but we thought that was kind of boring.
Yeah, we were like, that sounds really boring, and we don't want to talk about that today.
I could talk about that for an hour if you want me to, because I could get into the nitty-gritty about how and why, but we just thought that'd be boring. So
yeah, we just didn't really want to talk about that today. So if you want to hear about that another time, you can drop a comment below, or if there's ever a topic that you want us to talk about when we have gotten all dressed up and fancy for you, then drop it below and we'll do that. But we decided instead that we would talk about metabolism. We would talk about how to optimize your metabolism. How about like 10 truths and a lie or something? I don't know. We're going to teach you about some truths about your metabolism and how in our 40s, our metabolisms, I would say our metabolisms are like on point.
Healthy or as efficient as they've ever been.
Yep.
I mean, we are, look at this girl, like energy.
We're totally getting rained on.
The energy bunnies, the Energizer energy bunnies all day long. She runs in the heat of the day. I decide when I wake up on my birthday, I want to run 27 miles with no training. I mean, we just...
She's 46 this year. Yeah. So we're going to talk about metabolism because one of the things that I hear people say a lot is, oh, well, you know, I just have a slow metabolism. Or they just say, I've always had a slow metabolism. Or it's in my genetics and everybody in my family just has a slow metabolism. Do you like, I like it when he waves his fingers.
This is what I learned in Guatemala. This is a polite way to say, there is no way in HE double hockey sticks that's correct.
Well, I mean,
no data to support any of that. Sorry, whoever has that rationale.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting
It's
cold.
not true. We're all born with the same metabolism. Guess what? I have the same metabolism you do, but I may or may not take care of it differently. We all have the same exact metabolism. We all have the same exact energy currency,
what do you mean by that?
If you will, in our cells. You know, you guys have probably heard of the mitochondria, which is, you know, the powerhouse of our cells, which is what generates energy for our bodies. That's how we stay alive. If we didn't have mitochondria, we would be dead because that's where all the energy is made in our cells. And we all got the same mitochondria. I don't have better mitochondria than you have. I may fuel it differently, but that's not what I inherited. That's not what I got. That's not what you got. We all got this. We all start with the same mitochondria. We just have to choose to fuel it the right way.
Energy the same way, no matter how old we are, no matter how young we are, no matter how much fat we're composed of, no matter how much muscle we have.
We got the same mitochondria, all of us.
Yes. So the problem is some people really do struggle. I think when people say, oh, I have a sluggish metabolism, what they're really saying is, I can't lose weight. Or I was just born this way, or there's no way I can ever lose weight. There's nothing I can do. And, yeah, he's going to do this. And I want to say that just to have some compassion, like there are people that struggle to lose weight, to be honest.
No, but there's factors that are in play there. It's not a mystery, and I think it may be a mystery to some, but but
we're going to demystify
there's
it.
no reason it has to continue to be a mystery.
Yes.
The science is well known.
Yes. And I trained people for a lot of years, and I've worked in the gym. And before I was, you know, a nurse, I did personal training. And I mean, some people really did struggle to lose weight, but like if I could have been like dead honest with them, like, which back then I was in my 20s, so I didn't have the confidence.
What does she know, right?
Well, I didn't have the confidence to say what I think, and clearly I don't have that problem
now 20 plus
anymore,
years later and lots more life experience, she still knows the same good stuff and then some.
Yeah, I say more what I think. But if I could have told them what I thought, there would be a lot of things that I would tell them, and especially women, because I'm 42 years old and I don't have a perfect body by any means. I have cellulite, right, honey? You've seen my butt.
We all do. We all got some. We put it in different places, and some have more than others.
I got chunks and cellulite and stuff, and I don't obsess.
That's okay. Fat is actually good for you. Fat is the best fuel ever.
That's right.
Fat is awesome.
Yes.
Fat is not only awesome to have, to be the most amazing and efficient energy store you could ever have, 10 times better, 100,000 times better than glucose. Glucose will fuel you for a few minutes, maybe.
Right.
The myth that everybody thinks is that, oh, you gotta have glucose. Your brain needs glucose. Your body needs glucose. Your muscles need glucose. Wrong answer.
Fat is actually
a much better fuel than glucose ever was, ever will be. And you know what's so interesting about that, not only is the fact that our bodies can only survive, you know, minutes or at most a couple of hours off glucose, if we continue to replenish it. You know, the glucose that's in our bloodstream, literally the body can only live for a few minutes on it without getting it constantly replenished.
That's why you're starving an hour and a half.
That's why you're hungry so quickly after you eat carbs. They're just a terrible, terrible fuel source. You know, it's like
alcohol,
having the Maserati and putting the cheapest, crappiest, lowest leaded, you know, fuel that you could ever find. And then you're wondering why my car doesn't go as well. And it says right on there, must use premium fuel, and you're putting the garbage 7-Eleven stuff in there.
So premium fuel for your body is fat.
It's largely
protein.
Fat is
Mostly.
So important, so energy dense.
Why is fat so energy dense, and why is it so good? And why does like eating higher amounts of fat not make you fat? Because I think people, like, even though it's kind of been demystified and debunked, I feel like a lot of people are still obsessed with looking at the amount of fat.
It's because we were lied to. We were lied to, starting with a very prominent scientist by the name of Ansel Keys that decided he would make fat the villain and the enemy, even though he had no data whatsoever to support this. He went and tried to find data. He was getting paid by, guess what? The seed companies, you know, the makers of Crisco and the vegetable oils and Procter and Gamble and all these companies that literally spent millions and millions and millions of dollars paying both our American Heart Association, who produced the guidelines, as well as the Food and Drug Administration. I mean, they got millions of dollars from the seed companies, the makers of vegetable oils, to tell us, like when I was growing up, vegetable oil, we're supposed to have margarine. Like we never had butter when I was a kid, and I was screwed up because of it. I didn't know it, but I thought that was the healthy thing because that's what we were taught.
My mom started buying margarine too.
And I hate margarine. Not only does it taste like crap, it's about the worst thing for you in just leaps and bounds compared to natural animal fats, which we know how to use. Our body knows how to use. They are the most efficient fuel source for our body, pound for pound. And you know what's interesting, what's super interesting about this, like Brooke mentioned, some people think you eat fat, you're going to get fat. It's actually the opposite. Most people find that once they start to eat more fat and less carbs, less carbs, they actually lose weight. And many people get kind of shocked on this. I
eat more fat than I've ever eaten in my life.
We love bacon. We love, in fact, tonight I'm grilling up some hamburgers, like at least half-pound patties.
You need to be a carnivore because I have great friends
We're omnivores. We eat everything that's whole and natural and good for you.
That works for you.
Yeah, do whatever works for you, but whole natural food, whatever you choose that to be, is always the best, not the artificial stuff made in a seed oil company's laboratory after 20 different processes that include bleaching and all these other things that make it look crystal clear and perfect, which is about as unnatural as you could ever get. And so just back to this concept of eating
Metabolism.
fat.
We
Well, no,
kind of
no,
get off
eating
on
fat,
tangents.
eating fat doesn't
Sorry.
usually make you fat. In fact, most people lose weight if they eat fat. And you know, one of my favorite stories is by a gal that actually recently wrote a book called The Big Fat Surprise. And if you haven't heard of that book, check it out.
The Big Fat Surprise.
It's really
Who was
interesting.
the author?
It wasn't written by a scientist, but it was written by an investigative reporter by the name of Nina Teicholz. And the way that she actually, this is a true story, and I not only heard it, I actually heard it from her own lips. She was on a podcast I listened to a few months back. And
it's hard work holding this phone, you know.
The interesting part of her story is that, you know, she has been a journalist for years and years, and she got interested in this topic because she had a stubborn 10, 15, 20 pounds that she just couldn't get rid of. She tried every kind of diet, you know, low carb, high carb, you know, whatever, you know, paleo, Mediterranean. She tried all these things and she could not lose that, you know, 10 stubborn pounds. And she actually, with her career, ended up getting a stint where she was kind of the connoisseur of New York restaurants. And she wrote a weekly column on, you know, the most rich kind of beautiful food in New York. And she had never really eaten like quote unquote heavy foods, meaning things like, you know, steak, you know, creams, you know,
butter,
real butter and things like that.
Cheese.
And what she found, and this was kind of by accident, she had to, you know, taste this rich food, like, oh my gosh, animal fat, like a girl was eating ribeye, like who does that, right? Dude, ribeye is awesome. Brooke doesn't necessarily love ribeye, but the more marbly, the better. That's the way I'm liking it. But anyway, she was starting to eat more heavy foods with real cream, real meat, all these things. And what she found is she actually lost 10 pounds. But in her mind, she couldn't even believe it because she was full all the time. These foods are way more satiating than the carbs that we just talked about at the outset. You eat carbs and you're hungry 1, 2, or 3 hours later max.
Yes.
And what do you want to do? You want more carbs. You know, it's like an insatiable
what does that do to your
hunger. That is
metabolism,
not
then?
your metabolism. That has nothing to do with your metabolism. It has to do with
why
what
do
you put in.
Why do fats
What you
speed
put
up
into
your metabolism?
metabolism.
Because we're trying to teach these good people that are watching, why do fats speed up their metabolism?
It's not that they speed up your metabolism. It's just different. It's a different fuel source, if you will, that's not only more efficient, you get more energy pound for pound out of the fats than you do with carbs or other things, even proteins, really, for that matter. I mean, proteins are really just broken down into sugar, just as sugar or carbs is broken down into sugar. Fats, guess what? Fats are not broken down into sugar.
No, they can't be broken down into sugar.
And so, you know, they're totally different on a molecular level, and they're actually the most efficient,
molecular
stuff. Efficient food source that you could ever have is fat. And so when you eat fat, not only do you get more satiated and have less hunger, but they fuel your metabolism for hours.
There you are.
Stop touching your phone. She's getting distracted by all these messages popping up, and we're trying to watch the comments. Like yours, Amy Paul. So glad you're watching. Says, I feel yuck eating carbs and sugar, but I love them. Well, yeah, you love them because our brains are programmed to like sweets.
Yeah.
Sweets, as I mentioned in a recent podcast, are as addictive, if not more so, than cocaine. And this includes regular sugar.
Yeah.
This includes artificial sweeteners.
Like sucralose.
Splenda, which is horrible. Saccharin, even worse. Sweet and low. All these things. But the power in our minds of sweetness is really hard to resist. And it's not you being wimpy or weak. That's just the way our minds are designed to like sweet. Although sweet is not satiating. It's not fulfilling. You don't feel... How do you feel after you've eaten a whole bunch of sweets? Do you feel awesome?
No.
You don't. You usually feel crappy. And guess what?
And puffy
your energy level goes like this. You've heard of the... You know, in Hawaii, we call it the Polynesian paralysis, which is kind of that like tiredness that comes after eating a big meal. Yeah. Well, the reason for that is you get this huge surge in glucose and then insulin. And with that surge, your body, you know, you get tired. I mean, it's very predictable. It's very predictable that you'll have these surges in glucose and hence surges in insulin. And what does that do? Insulin tells your body to store, not use and metabolize and get the energy out of, to store the glucose as fat. It stores it. What you want is you want your brain to be turned oppositely, where you don't have tons of insulin floating around telling your body to store fat, but telling your body to use the fat that you have. Because if you keep eating carbs, you'll never actually dip into your fat stores. You'll never be able to use those because your body, thanks to the mother of all hormones, the mother is insulin. And, you know, I can't wait to talk more about insulin in an upcoming podcast, because it controls almost all the hormones that we have.
Should they be eating?
Is insulin is the master hormone, and if it's always active, we're not burning any fat. We're getting it. We're getting it under our skin and growing, but we're not burning any of it.
That's so true. I'm reading your comments. Okay, so first one is, what type of fats should I eat? Well, he talked about natural fats.
Avoid all the processed fats, which include all the vegetable oils, such as canola oil. Avoid it. Safflower oil, sunflower oil. Avoid all of these. Cottonseed oil. Anything that says vegetable oil, avoid it. Those are about the worst kinds of fat you could ever eat, even though that's what we've been told for 50 years, thanks to Ansel Keys and the American Heart Association. That is now debunked. And they will admit that natural fats, which are saturated fats, are the ones that are healthy for us. These come from animals. These are real butter, real lard, real meat, real eggs, real cholesterol.
Thought that I needed to stay away from saturated fats. That saturated fats were the mother of all evil fats.
They are your friend.
It's actually not true.
And not only are they healthy, those are the fats that we have in our bodies. Our bodies have lots of fat and cholesterol in them. Cholesterol is so important. In fact, the more cholesterol you got, you tend to be smarter, you tend to have better energy, you tend to live longer, you tend to have less illnesses.
This is why.
Cholesterol is your friend.
Healthy.
Cholesterol is your friend.
My cholesterol has always been over 200. And
oh my gosh! And she's going to
200.
live until she's 100, most likely.
But do you know what
her grandmother died in her 97th or 8th year.
Yeah, my HDL was like
probably 90 something, which is the so-called good cholesterol.
But my cholesterol was like 220 or something, and so
any
I thought,
doctor would freak out. Oh my gosh!
I'm so unhealthy, but I just ran for an hour, and I have muscles, and I don't really have any. I don't have any problems. Yes. So that whole thing about saturated fat. So what kind of
saturated fat or normal, healthy, natural
fats?
Animal fats are just
fine. But here's the thing about animal fats is that it really does matter the quality of the meat that you eat.
Well, where are they getting the animals from? Are they animals that are fed corn and all this junk food
GMO
that are
stuff.
GMO produce? You need to have grass-fed beef.
Antibiotics.
If you're going to eat fish, which I love fish, it should be wild-caught fish, not farmed fish. There's a big difference. There's a huge difference. And so fat is definitely not the enemy. Vegetable oil and artificial, fat, if you will, anything that's what they call a PUFA or polyunsaturated fat is horrible for you.
So
not only is it bad because of the nature of its processing, but because it's unsaturated, it has room to be damaged or injured by what's called oxidative stress, and so they promote inflammation. The PUFAs are extremely inflammatory. Extremely inflammatory. And inflammatory is the mother of all illness, basically. Everything from diabetes, insulin resistance, cancers, heart disease. These are all based on inflammation. In fact, they just come up with in the last 10 years, one of the best markers for heart disease is a highly sensitive C-reactive protein, which is basically a marker of inflammation. So you want that to be as low as possible.
So here's the thing. So we could literally talk.
We could go on for hours and hours, but listen to the podcast and you'll get more.
No. The thing that's fascinating to me about this is sort of off topic, but women that have heart attacks. Women that have heart attacks don't necessarily have the same mechanism or type of heart attack. So for men, a lot of times it's blockage of their
men tend
left
to have
coronary,
them 10 years sooner than women.
Left coronary, but for women, I bet it's more of an inflammation thing, more of
an
an
inflammatory
thing.
Well, and it's also a spasm, what they call vasospasm. But
okay, so fats. Back to fats. I'm trying to keep him on track. Okay. So animal fats that come from a good source. olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Now, we learned the hard way. We made waffles last week, and the waffles we make from scratch. We use whole milk. We drink whole milk. We do not drink skim. We do not drink 1% or 2%.
The more fat in your milk, the better.
We drink whole milk. But the milk was cold.
It was
and then
cold.
He pours coconut oil in, and I'm like, I'm mixing it up, and it's chunking up. There's like chunks of coconut oil in the waffles. It was really interesting. So,
but they still tasted fine. This week we used avocado oil for our waffles,
because we're just learning.
It works just fine. Cheeses are fine. Yogurts are fine.
Fish,
natural wild caught fish is fine.
What other kind of things?
Avocados, my personal favorite. I eat 3 or 4 a day, even though it costs $10 for 3 or 4 avocados in Hawaii.
So fat supports a healthy metabolism.
Natural saturated fat is the
what
best.
you eat actually matters. Do you understand that this is pretty revolutionary? Because when I went to school, when I got my degree from San Diego State University 20 years ago, in kinesiology, in my nutrition classes, they were like, calories in needs to equal calories out. It doesn't matter what you eat.
Who cares what you eat? Oh my gosh.
That actually couldn't be farther from the truth.
Horrible.
I never think about what I eat anymore. And I used to obsess about what I eat and count calories, because I was like, calories in, calories out, calories in, calories out. And I don't even think about it anymore. And when I look at pictures of when we first got married, like, I didn't look fat or anything. But I was definitely inflamed, and I looked puffier. And I was not toned like I am now.
And that was insulin resistance. That was
before
too many carbs. That was
too many carbs.
And she was younger then, and her metabolism was slow. Well, actually, it was just not as efficient because she wasn't fueling it with the best possible fuel. That makes the difference. We can all choose what we fuel our bodies with. Last I checked, nobody had a gun to our heads every time we opened our mouths and filled it with food. You know, we get to choose what we're going to eat.
Tell them quick, in a nutshell, what are the best nuts to eat? There's a few types of nuts that are actually better for your microbiome, for your gut, and they're the healthiest types of nuts to eat. And nuts are also a great source of fat.
So, I mean, they can be both an excellent prebiotic, like walnuts and almonds, for example. They can also be a great source of saturated fats, like, for example, here in Hawaii, we have macadamia nuts. They are very oily.
They're very oily.
But they're saturated fat, which is a good kind of fat for your body, because it's the kind of fat that we naturally have in our bodies. They don't have these double bonds, which make them at risk of oxidation and hence lots of inflammation.
That sounds good,
so the macadamia nuts are healthy for us because they have the right kind of fat in them. Almonds, walnuts, cashews. Peanuts are kind of average. They're okay. They're not a bad nut. They're okay, but they're not amazing. But they're okay. Peanuts are fine. And if you do like peanut butter, please get the peanut butter that's just peanuts. That doesn't, a lot of them will sneak in some vegetable oil because it's cheaper. Or, even olive oil, if you don't buy the really good virgin stuff, they sometimes sneak in other vegetable oils to dumb it down and dilute it. So you got to actually read the label. Sometimes they'll sneak in other oils that are cheaper because olive oil is more expensive. I bought a small little bottle at Costco and it was $15, and I saw this giant, 1 gallon thing of canola oil and it was $4.99. It's like, there's a reason why too many of us are using it. It's just way more affordable. When you go to a restaurant, they're probably cooking with canola oil because it's 10 times cheaper than olive oil, when really they should be cooking with olive oil or avocado oil, because not only is it better for you, but the food tastes better. You can fry with those things. Right? Who's tried these things? Have you ever tasted canola oil and then tasted olive oil? Would you want to just drip canola oil for your salad dressing?
No.
Nobody would do that. It would taste like garbage. But if you use olive oil, it actually tastes good.
I had somebody ask me, honey, about their brownies. They're like, what would I make my brownies with? And we do use coconut
avocado oil, coconut oil,
we use coconut,
whatever you want.
We use coconut really oil. Good.
It's yummy.
It tastes really good.
I got her convinced.
It doesn't taste like coconuts either. Like, I think I used to think, if I use coconut oil in the brownies, my brownies are going to taste like coconut.
It's not like
that.
It
doesn't. I don't taste it at all.
Maybe a hint of it. I mean, if you buy
I'm sensitive to that.
The pressed coconut oil, which is actually the healthiest for you, the non-refined, it might have a slight hint of coconut, but it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make it drown out the taste
coconut
or whatever.
Coconut oil in the brownie mix.
Coconut oil, we've been using it at least for the last several months, and I initially
Just
snuck
don't
it in
mix
because
with
I thought,
cold milk and waffles.
I thought she would be upset with me if she
Chunga.
found out, because you know she's a creature of habit, like many of us are.
I know.
And we just do things a certain way, and
Okay.
it's good to use the real
Metabolism.
stuff.
Okay, back to metabolism. So we talked about food, what you fuel your
metabolism.
body. Let's talk about exercise, movement, muscle, and how that plays into it. So you guys know that I'm a nut about working out. I do not actually work out as extreme and crazy as I used to, believe it or not. You may or may not believe that. I used to work out. I used to teach 16 classes a week. So 16 hours a week.
At least 16 hours of
I was
super
working
hard
out. Yes.
focus, like
before I had kids,
max out.
I did not look as good as I look now, just so you know. And now I'm committed to at least 20 minutes, 6 days a week. That's my 6 for 6. But one of the things that I'm committed to is I do not just do cardio. I always do at least body weight strength, or lift some weights, or do something to create muscle. And it's especially important for women. I mean, it's important for men too, but it is really important for women. Amy says I make grown men cry.
She's talking about the coconut oil in her brownies, and
No, she's talking about my burpees.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
talking
that
about
too.
my,
Okay.
yeah, she's talking. She used to take my weightlifting
I
classes.
know. I don't want to take her classes because I'd
No,
prefer to go
he couldn't keep
surfing
up.
or mountain biking or do something that in my mind is a little bit more enjoyable.
But you are using resistance when you surf.
Oh,
You're
for
pulling
sure.
against
No, I
the
mean,
water. You're
I like
pushing
to,
yourself up
I like
on
to
the
do
board.
things that push me, but
doing things that build
I like the
muscle
fun.
and strength. You would get more results and improve your metabolism if you lifted weights 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh, it's good.
2 to
Cross
3
training
times
is the
a
best thing
week.
you could do for yourself.
Cross
is doing a
training
little
for
bit of
metabolism.
different exercises, and not just do the
Yes.
same thing over and over again. Your body
Yes.
needs a little bit of a good, positive stress and change, and not just the same thing every single time. It's actually helpful
To rev up your metabolism.
to give yourself a little bit of a challenge. So
So if you've been doing the same workout for
mix it
years,
up. Mix it up.
or you've just been running for years, or you've just been going to the same class at the gym for years, and you're not seeing much of a change, you have to mix it up. And I think one of the biggest secrets to me staying so fit for all this time and being like virtually injury free for all this time, maintaining muscle mass, being 42 but feeling like I'm 30, has been that I have always cross-trained. Like, it's one of the reasons why I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever run another marathon. I ran one when I was 18 and one when I was 19. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, and I'm not knocking on marathon
She already got
runners.
first place in her age division for a marathon with 30,000 people, so you can't beat
But
that.
I want to keep my body healthy. I want to cross-train. I want to keep muscle, and I feel like, you know, it takes a little bit of discipline to do something outside of your comfort zone. It would be easier for me to just run every single day, but mixing it up and building muscle mass is what's going to give me a body that's in shape and healthy and a great metabolism as I get closer to 50. So that's just a little bit about exercise.
Well, I think we got to say one thing, because the traditional teaching with respect to exercise, training, workouts is that we need to load up on carbs before a workout. Now, that couldn't be more wrong, actually. If you want your metabolism to work well and have the right kind of energy, you should not be eating a pre-workout, carb fix, even the carb loading before exercise that they've always purported is good for long distance runners and all these things. It is that is not
to be false
not
now.
true. Not true. If you would load up, a day before with healthy fats, that'd be much better. But the day of the event and right before your exercise, it's better to not eat anything, actually. In fact, what Brooke and I most of the time do is a fasting workout, because that will actually get into your fat stores. If you want to be able to metabolize that fat, it's by not putting a bunch of carbs in your body before your workout, because if you do, you'll be working your butt off to try to get rid of those carbs that you just ate, and you'll never get rid of those couple pounds that you want to get rid of. So carb loading is horrible. Time-restricted eating, maybe.
Well, time-restricted eating or fasted
intermittent fasting or fasting cardio, whatever you want to call it. But if you really want to lose those extra 5 or 10 pounds that have been sluggish for years and years, try doing your workout
Yeah.
fasted. Do it first thing in the morning when you haven't eaten anything for 8 to 12 hours from the night before, and
Yeah.
you'll actually get to use those energy
fat
stores, because
stores.
once you put something into your body, especially if it's anything carb related, what happens? Your insulin goes up, and then that gets stored, and you go into storage mode instead of fat burning mode,
Yeah.
and so you'll never get those pounds off. And
You don't even need protein
I can't
before a
even
workout.
reiterate how important that is, to not be loading up with these
Pre-workout
proteins or carbs or back in the day it was always like, for me when I played high school sports, it was always about having Gatorade all throughout the game to have that energy, and that's all been shown to be a total fallacy. The glucose is probably the worst thing for sustained energy.
Yeah.
and for if you're trying to lose weight too, it's even that's
You'll
never going to work.
You'll
It's
work
never gonna
out
happen.
and you'll just be frustrated and just nothing will ever happen, and then you'll probably just give up on the workout and then you'll just gain another 10 pounds. So just, you know what? You don't need all of that stuff. You don't need all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You can use your fat stores. Fasted cardio is better. If I don't work out in the morning,
You do anything before a workout, drink a giant glass of water. That's
Yeah.
about, you
Yeah.
don't need to be doing a
Yeah.
bunch of proteins or carbs or any of that stuff.
So what else can we tell these good people before we hop off about optimizing their metabolism? A couple other quick notes.
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to, it does matter what we put into our bodies. It does matter. The
And that we
timing of it
move.
matters. Somebody mentioned something about intermittent fasting, which is super healthy for you. And I think if you do it, I know I've found this, I actually am more energized. One of the healthiest ways to lose a bit of weight is, number one, stop snacking. You don't
Yeah.
need those snacks. The only reason you think you need those snacks is because your insulin is going up and down and up and down, and your energy levels and blood sugar is going up and down and up and down, and you feel like you got to have that next carb fix or you're going to get too tired and not
Yeah.
have energy. Then you'll never be able to burn any fat because of that. So the first thing I would say, besides eating real, healthy, normal, whole food, is stop snacking. Stop snacking.
I
Once
used to
you've
be
stopped
the queen
snacking,
of
then maybe
snacking.
skip one meal a day. For me, I usually skip breakfast because I get up super early to go surfing. I never
Listen
really
to his
feel
podcast if
I
you
never
think
really
that you
feel
need
like eating in
breakfast.
the morning anyway. Yeah, if you want to hear all about breakfast more than you ever wanted to know and how interesting it is, my last podcast was about breakfast. But intermittent fasting is super helpful as well, and you can skip whatever meal you want. I just find it easier to skip breakfast.
Yeah.
But I think the snacking, if we would eliminate that immediately, that would be probably the single most effective thing we could do to lose weight and to improve our metabolism, is to not snack at all. You could stick with your 3 meals a day, but
Yeah.
try to space them out as far as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Space them out by 6 or 8 hours if you can. And then once you've sort of maximized the no snack zone and not snacking at all, then maybe try to eliminate 1 meal a day. I feel amazing off of 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we only ate 2 meals a day. This whole invention of breakfast really was started in large part in the Industrial Revolution, and then guys like Kellogg made buttloads of money because they had a reason to, and they weren't trying to be healthy. They were trying to cure, some desires and things that they thought were a problem. You can listen to my podcast for more on that. And then they just wanted to make a bunch of money. So breakfast is not necessarily, in fact, in most cases, not the most important meal of the day. And I think it's the easiest one to skip. And, if you really want your metabolism to work for you, pay attention to those two things, what you put into your body and the timing of it. So crucial, so crucial.
And then move.
And then you got to
Drink
move.
water.
Move goes without saying.
Sleep.
Drink lots of water.
And
also, salt is good for you too. Salt is healthy and helpful.
Salt is
and
good for
for
your
many years, we
metabolism.
always thought that salt was the enemy. Oh, it causes high blood pressure. Bull crap. As long as you don't have kidney failure or liver failure or a major organ system that's failing, having salt will not only help you stay more full and satiated and want to crave less, but it'll make your food taste better. Ask
Yeah.
Brooke. She loves
I
salt.
love sea
And when I make
salt.
my
I
home
love
cooked,
it.
fish that I make for fish tacos, what my secret ingredient is? Number one, it's
Salt.
butter. Number two, it's salt. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can't make taste better without a little extra salt. And
Yes.
it's fine. It's
And
good
it's
for
fine.
you. Salt is not the enemy. Drink plenty of water.
You
Eat
need
real
to
whole
drink
foods.
water for your
Exercise and
metabolism,
move.
for sure.
Stop snacking. Think about time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting
Yeah.
or fasting cardio, whatever. These simple, doable things
Yeah.
will just tremendously enhance your metabolism and enhance your health, your energy, your life, and They're easy.
Right.
You don't have to keep a notebook. I don't keep any notebooks. Brooke doesn't
I
keep
don't
a
keep
notebook.
any
We don't
notebook.
calorie count.
I
She
don't
used to.
Food prep.
We don't
do anything. But I think if you're starting a new habit, one of the things just in having coached a lot of people, both with Plexus and just also, you know, like as a personal trainer and stuff, it is like focusing on one thing to change at a time. So if it takes you a long time to establish a new habit or something new in your life, if you're trying to overhaul everything at once, you'll fail. But if the first step for you is, you know what, this month I'm going to pay attention to what's on labels, and I'm going to pay attention to taking things out of my pantry
5-ingredient rule
that are not awesome. Now, that being said, I shared a post this week that said, you know what my favorite like guilty pleasure is? Nacho cheese Doritos, okay? And you know what these guys had a couple days ago? They had some Oreos after dinner.
I ate 2 Oreos
So,
after dinner, and I enjoyed those 2 Oreos.
When we tell you this, and you can even ask Lisa.
We're not perfect.
No, we have some things in our pantry that are just like, you know, we just have every once in a
But
while.
that pack of Oreos literally has been there for 3 months. That
It's
shows
been
you
there
how
for 3 months.
few Oreos we eat. Like,
right?
We rarely eat.
So it's not about obsessing or like me saying, oh my gosh, I eat so perfect. No, I don't eat perfect. But it's about the majority of the food that we eat and what's in our pantry. So maybe you take a month to focus on that and you focus on eliminating those bad oils. And then maybe 1 month you literally just obsess about drinking water. And you're like, I am a really crappy water drinker. So I'm going to focus on drinking water and
you'll have less
hydrating.
appetite too. Not only will
Less
you be more
appetite,
hydrated,
you'll be more energized.
but it'll dilate your stomach. It'll cause those satiety receptors to go, oh, I'm kind of full. Like if you want to lose weight fast too, drink a full 12-ounce glass of water before every meal that you're going to eat.
Right.
And you'll eat less.
Well,
simple life hack right there. Diet hack.
And the thing is, like, you're just like, it's like you're practicing, right? So you're practicing drinking water. So like 1 month you're like, I am just really going to practice drinking water. I'm going to get so good at it that it's going to become second nature. It's going to become a part of my life so that I don't even have to think about it after that month of practicing. And then I can move into the next habit I'm going to practice. And the next habit is going to be...
You don't have to do this all at once.
Right?
I mean, take it one step at a time.
Just a
this
little
month
bit at
do
a
water.
time.
Next month do stop snacking. The next month,
Yes.
whatever. Do the intermittent or time restricted eating. You don't have to do it all at once. This is not a 0 to 60 program.
If you were to pick
Progress.
one thing every single month to hone in on to change your life and improve your health, by the end of the year, you would be unrecognizable. You would be totally different. You would be taking your health, your life, your metabolism, your fitness, your glowing skin, whatever it was, you would be taking it to the next level. And literally all you did was like one simple thing every single month. You didn't have to buy some fancy $2,000 gym membership or
use an app on your phone to keep track of
an
everything
app
you put in your
to
mouth.
count.
I mean, it's just
That's
not
prison
necessary.
to me.
Who
That
wants
is
to live like that?
prison to me.
Just make good choices, eat
Yes.
real, whole, natural
Yes.
food, do your exercise, drink plenty of water, and don't obsess about
I
it.
think we'll
Pay
need
attention.
a part 2 later on.
Pay attention to ingredients.
My arm is tired.
We could go on and on
My
and on and
arm
on
has
and on
been
and on and
holding
on and
this
on and on.
phone the whole time. Look at
Your hour plus
I'm working my
workout.
deltoid here. So yes. So
All right.
anyway,
But there's plenty
we'll
more.
do a
Plenty
part
more. We'll do
2,
another one. I
and
got
they wanna
a
hear
podcast
one-
coming out this week on metabolism. It should be out.
do a podcast for the
I get it
older
out today, but
ladies.
I've worked the last 2 nights in a
You
row,
have to
and
do a podcast for
I
the
haven't really
older
slept,
ladies
so I need to get
like
some sleep
me.
in. I got to take my own advice
The
and get a
older
good night's sleep.
You almost hit me with your hat.
Oh, sorry.
The older ladies. No, there was a lady that
Older
said
ladies?
she's like
Oh
in her
my
50s.
gosh. 50 is the new
60s.
20. Come on, 50s.
I know, but they want to know.
What do they want to know?
They want to know how they can stay skinny and hot.
Easy. Control your hormones, but let's just focus on
So
one
you need
hormone
to do
at a
one
time.
on hormones.
The
then.
master hormone is
Insulin.
insulin. If you can control your insulin by snacking less, having less carbs, having better diet and whatnot, that will really, you'd be surprised. You may stop having thyroid problems. You may stop having other issues with adrenal fatigue and things like that. If you can control your number one hormone, which is insulin, most of the others
Yes.
will fall into place. But we'll do a whole
I have
podcast
never
on
talked about
hormones.
that before, ever. In the
Insulin
last
is
4.5
the
years.
master hormone.
I've never talked.
She's
about
never talked about insulin or blood sugar balance or any of that? I doubt it.
I've never talked about that because I'm just.
The master hormone.
I'm
insulin.
just. I don't know what I'm talking about. All those people that have told me for years, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we only live it every day and have done for 20 plus years, but we're
All right,
still a work
guys.
in progress. We're not perfect,
I need to go eat something, and this has been really fun. I hope
We'll
you
do
learned
more.
something new.
Don't dismay.
And
Check out
you
the
can drop some
podcast, Modern
comments
Medicine Movement.
on some other things that you want to learn about, and we'll go live and talk for way too long in our sweaty clothes, and we'll educate you.
It'll be awesome.
Anyways, have a good day.
Aloha.
Pass it on. Share the video. Tag your friends that need to learn
please
this.
share. Please share the podcast.
And listen
Lots
to his podcast.
more
It's
to
actually
come.
really
Modern
interesting.
Medicine Movement.
Bye,
Aloha.
guys.